Good morning, everyone. This is Denise, and it is a cold and blustery morning, but beautiful. The sun is shining. It's about 16 degrees Fahrenheit, which would make it about -9 Celsius this morning. Very cold, but it's a great day to start planning my indoor seed sowing schedule. I'm also going to be trying winter sowing, but I will do that in another video. So come along with me as we start our indoor seed starting calendar. The first thing that I'm going to do before starting my seed starting calendar is I need to know my USDA hardiness zone. I happen to be in zone 6A, and I'll provide a link below to those of you in the United States to find your own hardiness zone, and you can do that by zip code. Then we need to write that number down. So I'll write down 6A on a piece of paper here. I also need to know my last projected frost date in my zone. Again, I will locate a link below to find your last frost date. Mine is May 9th. And this number is very important when we're counting backwards to our seed sowing schedule. The next thing I'm going to do is inventory my seeds, and you're looking here at my spreadsheet. And I will also provide you a link to this spreadsheet below. But you don't need something fancy like a spreadsheet to inventory your seeds. You can just write them down if you just have a few onto a piece of paper. Like this. I wrote here, I have a Brandywine tomato that needs to be sown 6 to 8 weeks in advance. And then I have Tabasco pepper, which indicates it's 10 to 12 weeks in advance. Those weeks indicate the sow schedule. And that sow schedule on my spreadsheet, I have highlighted in yellow. And those numbers are very important. And I have a sample here. Let's look at items 7 and 8. I'm not sure how well you can see this. I have taken information from my seed packet, and this one is from Park Seeds, and this is Angelonia. And I have indicated a lot of information on this spreadsheet. And you can, when you download this spreadsheet, you can alter it any way that you want. But what we need to create this calendar, we need that sow schedule. So you see the Angelonia, the sow schedule for this is 6 to 8 weeks. And that 6 to 8 weeks is prior to the last frost date. I'll show you what this Angelonia looks like. So it is, it's a white, it's kind of a tallish, 12 to 15 inches. No, I guess not very tall, 12 to 15 inch. This is an annual. And if you were using it in a container, this would make a great thriller, the taller plant in the center for that. Or it makes a great bedding plant as well. I just wanted you to see what we were working with in our sample. So we're back here to our spreadsheet. So I want to get that inventory of my seeds and get some information down. So I'm going to move to a different location so that I can spread out and show you how I'm going to create my calendar. So here's my planner, and I'm going to switch over to May because my projected last frost date is May 9th, and that's for our zone 6A. So I'm going to go here, and you'll see that I've written my projected last frost date on May 9th. Now I need to start counting the weeks backward and marking those on my calendar for April, March, February, and back to January if you're growing things like Lisianthus, because Lisianthus takes a long time to start. But I'm not growing Lisianthus, so I don't need to go back that far. So if you go back 12 to 15 weeks, you should be good for what seeds that you're starting indoors, at least in my zone 6A. So you notice on May 2nd, I wrote 1 week. So I'm going to go back to my April calendar. And here I've written 2 weeks. So I'm 2 weeks here from my last frost date. And I keep going back in months. And I did the same thing in March. So I kept counting backwards. And we get here to February. And right now, today is February the 11th here in 2021. I'm in the week of 13 weeks prior to my projected last frost date. Just know that your projected last frost date is a guesstimate. If you put stuff out on that date, you may end up having to cover it several times to protect it from the frost. So I usually plant later than that, but I can seed start based on that projected frost date. Let's go look at my spreadsheet and my example, my Angelonia sample again. And this is just a snippet. So I have my Angelonia, and I need to start the seeds 6 to 8 weeks prior. So I'm going to create myself a sticky note. And I'm going to write Angelonia and 6 to 8 weeks. So here I've written a tag for my Angelonia 6 to 8. So what I need to do is find 6 to 8 weeks in my calendar. I'm going to go to 8 weeks for this. So let me go to March. And there's 8 weeks. So now I'm going to stick my Angelonia 6 to 8 weeks on that date. Now I could actually write this in if you've printed a calendar off the internet. You could write these dates in ink. I'm using sticky notes so that I can move them around, because if you look on my spreadsheet here, I have a lot of things that, well, I have several in the 4 to 6 week range. So that I don't have to start all of the seeds on the 6th week, I can spread some of those things out. So what I will do is I will put down everything that I need to for the 6 to 8 weeks. Here's another thing I have, bellflower. So I'm going to write another tag for bellflower, and I'm going to stick it in the 6 to 8 weeks. So, and the reason why I'm putting this at the 8 week mark is because if I don't get them planted at 8 weeks, knowing by the tag, I can move like the bellflower to 7 weeks and still be fine to start those indoors. So that's how I end up projecting my seeds. Now, I also remember, if you do this on a sheet of paper, which I did for many years, I would write out all of my tomato plants and all of my pepper plants and find out, and a lot of times this information is on the back of a seed packet, and sometimes you have to do some research and across the internet and find how many weeks prior to the last frost date that some of these things are sowed indoors. So since I wrote these things here on this piece of paper, so I would write one for Brandywine tomato, and I would make a sticker for it or write it directly in that 6 to 8 weeks. I would write either Brandywine tomato here, or I will add another tag. Anyway, that is how I develop my indoor seed starting calendar. How do you start yours? Or do you have suggestions for ways that I can make this better? I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.